We're continuing how to live a very, very deeply conscious, intentional, meaningful life. And the key to that really is called halacha. Halacha is the way to walk through life, comes the word halicha, to walk in a conscious way. And we're specifically focusing on the Siddur, the prayer book now. But in order to get there, we really have to know how to wake up in the morning. So in our last class, we said you're going to wake up, you're going to say Modeh Ani. You've woke, literally, the alarm goes off. Before the alarm goes off, you went to bed looking forward to the alarm going off. Then you went to bed, you said Shema Alamita, then you went to bed, but the last thing you're going to say is Good night Hashem, fall asleep. Alarm goes off, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, take a deep breath. Modeh Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayem she'achazat bi nishmati b'chemla rabbai m'atecha, and you're going to try and feel a moment of gratitude for the fact that you're in the top 1% of privileged people on the face of the planet. Before all your issues and stuff come back in, and that girl and your job, and just to wake up with that 1 minute, lie in bed and be like, oh my goodness, I'm in a bed. I'm in a bed and there's no one trying to attack me at the moment, and I'm going to have food for breakfast. And my eyes work. That is cool. Then you're going to sit up. Ideally, and we'll talk about it a little bit today, you're going to have prepared the night before a bucket next to your bed. It's going to be a bucket about this big, and then a Nagelwasser thing. It's going to, those pots with 2 handles, and the night before you're going to put the pot with 2 handles in this bucket and then cover it. You don't want that water to be uncovered. So what my wife does is she actually gets a children's book, and then a towel on top of it. It's nice. You can just put a towel, but sometimes the towel gets into the water. So she puts a children's book and a towel. Wake up in the morning, you're going to lean over your bed, or you can sit up a bit and you're going to wash your hands. Why are you doing that? Basic reason is because there is spiritual impurity on your hands at that point. It says that sleep is 1/60th of death, and your soul has left you during the night, and it came back, but the remnants of this not good energy, spiritual force that's on your hands, you should definitely not touch your eyes, and don't touch anything until you've washed your hands. Obviously don't touch food. Basically the first thing you want to do, the first action in the morning, you really want to wash your hands as soon as you possibly can after you've woken up. Yes? Great. Yes.
How do you move the towel? Your answer.
Well, it's okay. You can move the towel because you're not. The towel isn't going to become impure from that. So what you do is you move the towel. Now you wash. Now really it needs to be 3 on each hand. Right, left, right, left, right, left. We always start with the right because the right represents chesed, which means loving kindness. So you start with your right hand first. Now, having just washed your hands, right, left, right, left, right, left. The water left on your hands is still spiritually impure. So you have 2 choices at this point. You can do another right, left, which now washes the impure water off your hands. Or you can just dry your hands at that point. So what I do is another right, left, and then dry my hands. Now Arizal says, let's hit 4. But really you do 3 and then get that water off your hands. Once again, not in a weird OCD, I've got weird impurity on my hand. Don't do that. See it as an opportunity to have some spiritual consciousness and spiritual purification. Remember also that your hands in Judaism represents your actions in the world. So you can also be thinking to yourself, I want all of my actions throughout the day to be pure. I want to get rid of any spiritual impure motivations and hopes and desires. I want to basically start my day by purifying my actions in the world. That's an amazing start to the day. Yes?
So the water that comes off your hands, is that considered impure?
Pardon?
The water that comes off your hands and falls back into
Yes. So that water that has now come off your hands and fallen in the bucket is now impure water, and you want to then get up and flush that down the toilet.
Okay. So like throw it in the grass and use it to water your grass?
Not best.
Okay.
That water you don't want around you. By the way, if it splashes on you, don't freak out. Just chill. Everyone chill. These are all opportunities. If you start seeing Jewish ritual and obligations as some burden, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble, it's really deeply unhealthy. You have to see every single thing as an amazing, beautiful opportunity to live a conscious life. So now you've done that. Now you go to the bathroom. You're going to flush that stuff away, and then you're going to probably go to the bathroom, which is cool. Now, after you go to the bathroom, all throughout the day, you're then going to do another one of those washings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every time you go to the bathroom during the day, afterwards you wash your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's six every time. I thought it was just 1 and 2.
Well, the truth is, really, after the bathroom, you don't have to. You can just do that. But according to our deeper sages, we want to do 3 each time, at least. Yeah.
As far as going to the bathroom goes, before you came in here, we were wondering, as far as the 6 constant mitzvahs goes, you're not supposed to be doing them in the bathroom, correct?
You're not supposed to be consciously, well, you can, actually, but you're not supposed to be consciously thinking about Torah topics or speaking to God. So what I do in the bathroom is I do cheshbon and nefesh, which is I go through my day and ask myself what I could improve, what I did well. That's a good way to spend that time. Or have good reading material, like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like that kind of secular but useful reading material. But another thing is, you don't want to be in the bathroom for a long time. Don't get caught up reading, because the bathroom is not a holy place to be. So get out as quickly as you can. In fact, apparently, there's a spirit in the bathroom called Tanya. One of the reasons the Tanya is called the Tanya, apart from the fact that the first word is Tanya, is to fix that spirit in the bathroom. Whatever. We don't want to get too mystical and strange here and freak everyone out, but basically, you're not meant to be hanging around in the bathroom. So if there's a really good book, you want to be very careful there. Do what you need to do, get out. It's not where you're meant to be. So when you've finished your tsarkav, you have taken care of your needs, then you wash your hands. Right, left, left. And now you're fine. At this point, you might want to get dressed. If I'm imagining you went into the bathroom in your underwear, and I sleep in my sit-sit. The Arizal says there's no reason you shouldn't sleep, and you can have special sleeping sit-sit. But although the halacha says that nighttime you don't necessarily have to wear sit-sit, the Arizal basically says you should never not be wearing sit-sit unless you're in the mikveh or in the shower. Because sit-sit reminds you of Hashem and mitzvahs and its spiritual protection. So both my boys, they wear their sit-sit to sleep. And so I think it's a very not a terrible thing to do, to sleep in sit-sit. Yes?
So when you go to the bathroom, you can't talk to God, but you can think of God.
Well, you shouldn't be really thinking about, wow, God's so great. Really just start thinking about how I can improve my character traits and stuff.
But as far as sit-sit in the bathroom, I guess...
I'm not going to take your sit-sit off every time. The truth is, you could go to the bathroom with your talis and tefillin. If you are 100% sure it's clean and you're only making a pee. Do you know how and when I learned this? Rav Gil. I saw him coming out of the bathroom in tefillin 15 years ago. I was like, he said, the halacha is, if you know for a fact it's completely clean, and you're just doing a pee, then you're actually allowed to wear your tefillin. Like, don't, but I said, I just didn't have time to take off my tefillin, and that I would have missed Kriyat Shema something. There's got to be a very, very good reason, by the way. But, so it should never happen. You should never get into that thing. But there is a time when it can be like that. So anyway, so at this point you've just been to the bathroom, and now you're going to get dressed. And then we have the 3 initial blessings that you're going to be making. The 3 initial blessings, and you do not want to speak to anyone until you've made these 3 blessings. Once again, don't get all OCD weird. If your wife says, can you get the baby, don't be like, like whatever. But in general, You want to speak to God before you speak to a human being. Now, maybe I'll give a whole separate class about brachas, blessings. But in general, a blessing is there, once again, as a mindfulness tool. Bring God into the picture and you're speaking to Hashem. Now, what does the word Baruch mean? There are three main meanings of the word Baruch. And people say, well, it means blessed. Like, what does blessed mean? Blessed are you. So, the word Baruch, the root, bet, resh, chaf, sofit, or chaf, bet, resh, chaf, three meanings. Number one meaning is a wellspring, a source, a wellspring. The modern Hebrew word for a swimming pool is a bricha. It's like a well. So when we say Baruch Atah Hashem, what we're saying is, Hashem, you are the source of everything. Everything, mamish, comes from you. There's nothing that doesn't originate in Hashem's creation of the universe. So for example, we played this game a lot in this class, but just in case you haven't heard the game, this stender, where does it come from? Wood. Where does wood come from? Tree. Where does tree come from? Where does the ground come from? Where does the ground come from?
Built in.
What?
It's built in.
Built into what?
Earth.
Where does the earth come from?
God.
God. Great. Metal. Where does metal come from? Rocks, I think. Where does they come from? Where did they come from? Where did they come from? Where did your t-shirt come from? China. Where does China come from? God. Where does your woolen jumper come from? Wool comes from sheep. Where does sheep come from? Mummy sheep. Where do mummy sheep come from? The mummy sheep. Where did the first sheep come from? God. Where does glass come from? Where does sand come from?
Rocks in the sun.
Where do they come from?
God.
Every single thing you will ever place your eyes on, if you play that game, you will come back to God. Where does the sky come from? God. Where does everything, where do computers come from? Human intelligence. Where does human intelligence come from? God. So what you can actually start doing is play this game, and soon the world just stops looking like just objects, and you're just like, God, God. And that's not a chair, that comes from God. Everything comes from God. So we really have mineral, vegetable, animal, and human. But my Rebbe says, if you just keep playing this game, I call it the back to the source game, then you stop seeing vegetable, mineral, animal, and you just see God. Yeah.
Are you, I guess like I keep like asking the same question in different ways, but when you go to the bathroom, you're not supposed to be thinking this way, or you can?
Can you play that game in the bathroom? I'm not sure. You can ask someone, but I'm just thinking you're not wanting to be thinking about spiritually uplifting things in the bathroom. But I know you're definitely not allowed to speak to God, which is really hard, because when you're late and you're like, Hashem, please get but whatever. In general, there are better things to do in the bathroom. Right. So the first meaning of Baruch is you are the source, everything comes from you. Just take a moment to really get that. Gives you a moment of mindfulness, a moment of gratitude. Wow, this is amazing. Have a bit of gratitude. A moment of God consciousness. I'll give you a whole class on brachas. The second meaning of Baruch is from this week's Parsha. How about that? Eliezer went to find a wife for Yitzhak, and he took all the camels, and he was yivrech ha-gamalim. He yivrecht the gamalim. What does that mean? Rashi actually says he made them lie down. He pulled them down. Now, it's related to the word berech. Berech means knee in Hebrew. Berech and Baruch are the same thing, because your knee is what helps you go lower, to come down. So there's two meanings. One is that you're kind of kneeling in front of Hashem, submission and humility. But the higher meaning is that you are bringing Hashem down. What does that mean? For most people, they don't feel that Hashem is actually palpably in front of them. Do you know that Hashem's in front of you, sitting on your lap right now? Do you know that? You don't even know that? Where is Hashem? Is Hashem everywhere? Do you believe in God? Great. Do you believe that God is everywhere? So is God sitting here on my lap now? Not the whole of God, but God is present here. Not only on my lap, in every cell of my being. Hashem, God is like animating everything in existence. That's pretty cool. So we don't feel that. Even where we believe in Hashem, we think Hashem's kind of far. Often when you're davening mincha, are you feeling like you're speaking to someone who's literally in front of your face? For most people, not. Even when we're having kavana, we feel like we're speaking to Hashem, who's kind of out there. Hashem out there, who's so great and amazing, which is true. So you really have to get this balance. Once again, it's ratzah v'shav. So in my mincha, I imagine that Hashem is va, beyond the universe, infinite, but then I'm like, I speak to Hashem, but then I zoom out again to get this sense of immense awe and reverence. It's like, and then like, good thing to do in your mincha. Start playing around with Hashem, katnus and gadlus. More direct and present, and then more Sovev kol almim, who surrounds all the worlds, v'malei kol almim, and he's already also within the world. So when you say Baruch, you're saying, I'm actually bringing down Hashem consciousness in front of my face now. That Hashem isn't far away anymore. And then, by the way, you can say the word Atah. Now, Atah is the most important word in the Siddur. Because if you can say the word Atah with kavanah, if you can say the word Atah with intention, that's it. That's the whole game. Baruch Atah, I am actually speaking to you. Like when I say, hey, how are you? I'm speaking to you. And you're next to me, I'm saying, you are there. So if I can say you to Hashem and mean it, that's an amazing thing. That would change every blessing you make. If you could just say Baruch Atah. I stop after I say the word Atah in general when I make a bracha. Baruch Atah, and then I stop and try to feel I'm actually speaking to you, Hashem. I'm not just saying a blessing. Baruch Atah. Hashem. We also got to understand that there's Hashem, which is God beyond time and space. Elokeinu, which is God within time and space. Melech, which is God being the king over time and space. Ha'olam is this world. So it's getting closer and closer. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu, Melech, Ha'olam. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu, Melech, Ha'olam. You shouldn't really be able to make a bracha. You should just say Baruch atah and then die. If you really say it. Baruch atah. Die atah, not after Hashem, because if you die after Hashem, it will be a bracha levatala. Like you say. So say Baruch atah and then fall off your chair. Baruch atah Hashem. Baruch atah Hashem. Elokeinu melech. So atah is a very important word because it means you're speaking to Hashem. Now, many brachas start with talking to Hashem directly. Baruch atah Hashem. And then it says, Rafeh chol basar mafleh laso. So speaking to Hashem in the second person and then zooming out to the third person. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. Everything was made by His word, b'dvaro. Why is that? So that we can get this balance of closeness and awe, of love and awe. Ahava and yira. So we have to have that. So when you're saying these words, you should notice if you're speaking about Hashem or if you're speaking to Hashem. Are you speaking about Hashem or speaking to Hashem? And that you've got to feel the difference. The first paragraph of Aleinu, you're speaking about Hashem. The second paragraph of Aleinu, you're speaking to Hashem. Al kein nikveh lecha. Lecha. If you don't realize that, if you don't feel like that, you're just saying words. Imagine I'm speaking about the Rosh Yeshiva. The Rosh Yeshiva is amazing. He's a big tzaddik. He knows everything. And then the Rosh Yeshiva walks in the room. And I'm speaking to him. I'm like, that's a completely different world. So if you are praying, saying the words, but you don't feel like you're in a completely different world, it means you weren't really paying attention to what you were saying. The first, there are 4 blessings in Birkat Hamazon, blessing after eating bread. The first bracha, we're actually speaking about Hashem. Hu notein lechem lechol basar. He gives bread to all flesh. Hu notein, he. The second bracha, we say noide lecha. Now I'm speaking to Hashem. You have to feel that shift. Otherwise, what are you doing? The third bracha, rachemna Hashem, we're speaking to Hashem. The fourth bracha, hu heitiv, hu meitiv, hu. So you're speaking about Hashem. You've got to feel that when you're benching, don't just sing a song. Baruch atah Hashem. I used to call it a Jew. I'm a boom 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 Jew. I'm the Jew that my favorite part of benching is the Elokeinu melech ha'olam. You're just singing a song and banging the table. So you want to know what you're saying. The third meaning of Baruch is to increase. So, for example, there's a blessing in the Torah. And the blessing is you'll eat a little bit of food, but you'll feel satisfied. There's a curse in the Torah that says you'll eat loads of food, but you'll never feel satisfied. And there's a blessing, which is you don't need to eat so much, and you'll feel satisfied. And Rashi said, why will you feel satisfied? It's because the food will increase in your stomach. And what word does he use? Mevarech. It will increase. And that makes sense. When you're blessing someone, what are you saying to them? That your good in your life should increase. You should have increased panasa. You should have increased success. And what's even more important is increased God consciousness. Just by saying a bracha, you're bringing more God consciousness into the world. The Rashba says that when you make a blessing, you're actually increasing Hashem's influence in the world. So if you don't make a blessing on an apple, then the apple harvest itself suffers. It's cool. If you make blessings on apples, you've now opened up the divine channels of blessing, of abundance, and the apples benefit. And if you don't, you're running harvest. Because the Gemara in Bracha says that if you don't make a bracha before you eat, you're stealing. You're stealing from Hashem. What are you stealing from Hashem? Not the food. You're stealing from Hashem the bracha, because bracha Hashem doesn't get the recognition. Hashem's not brought into the world. And what are you? And it says you're stealing from the Jewish people. The Rashba says, what are you stealing? You're messing up the harvest. You're messing up the crop. So that's what I'm thinking. When I say the word Baruch, I'm thinking to myself that Hashem is the source of everything. Hashem is completely present in my life. And in this way I have an increase. Not only in the blessing, whatever I'm asking for, but in an increase of God's presence and influence in the world. Run out of time. But then we have the 3 first blessings you're going to make, which we'll speak about tomorrow morning. What are the first 3 blessings you make in the morning? Really, you don't want to speak to people until you make them, because you want to speak to Hashem first.